But this is one day of the week, Friday. Yeah. They're not day one. They'll have on Saturday. So they can get their because it's such a great event. I saw you throw it. That's my way. I saw you. I showed it if you have enough people. It holds plenty of candles. Like, okay, then you know that.
I'm speaking on behalf of Donald Marsh, the president of the Historical Society. He regrets not being able to attend tonight to honor Jean and support this wonderful group of people who are very active in the community to help endure the preservation and let this community thrive and become a place for generations to come that will enjoy the livelihood of Mamaroneck. I'm grateful to be here. I joined the Historical Society 35 years ago as a student at Mamaroneck High School. Disappeared for a number of years to train as a physician and get my education, and to come back and raise my family here again. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to see this activism and to support many friends and family and loved ones that are here still in the community, and to speak on behalf of Donald Marsh tonight, who's honoring Jean. First off, I'd like to just acknowledge the Board of Trustees of the Mamaroneck Historical Society. If everyone could please stand for a moment, and just like to honor them for their unduly support, energy, contributions here in the community. I'm going to read a brief statement from Donald Marsh regarding Jean Warrington here. First off, he honors you as a friend and mentor. You are everything and everything to Mamaroneck, and we owe you more than you have given to us. Your quiet kindness and magnanimous benevolence speaks well of your grounding in humanity. Others can only hope to achieve your unduly support, activism, passion, love that you've given to this community, to the children of Mamaroneck, to their parents, and to every other individual who's lucky enough to pass down Palmer Avenue to taste and enjoy the flavors of Walters, admire that beautiful building that you have lovingly supported over the years, and the incredible family that you have that has continued to carry the torch that you have so duly made bright. Tonight, a grateful Historical Society respectfully thanks you and so honors you as a cherished elder of our venerable organization. Jean, thank you gratefully.
He used to sing a man, but as far as
Firemen's Parade, now therefore be it resolved that as a duly elected member of the New York State Assembly, I, Stephen Otis, on behalf of the people of New York, commend Eugene Warrington for his distinguished service to our community and recognize him as worthy of our esteem and the esteem of the great state of New York. They all dance around the same subject. You're pretty special. You're pretty special. Peter, would you like to take over? This is Peter Fellows. Peter is a member of the Mamaroneck Historical Society. He is also Jean's son. Yeah.
Mamaroneck history is important It's important because it instills in us a sense of community. It expands our personal identity to make us aware of belonging to something bigger, something important. And what it does is it gets us to invest more into our community. It gets us engaged in what is going on. History is really a collection of stories, of people's stories.
I'd just like to make sure that everybody understood the proclamations that Gene got today and who they were from. He got one from Senator George Latimer of the New York State Senate.
I don't think the mic is working.
It's not working? It's working if it's close to my neck. Okay. Assemblyman Steve Otis, New York Assembly, 91st District. Honorable Catherine Parker, Westchester County Legislator. And Honorable Nancy Seligson, the Supervisor from the town of Mamaroneck. I just want to make sure that they got credit for being here or not being here, as the case may be, but bringing or something for Gene. All right, I want them to be recognized. Now, last but not least is our honored guest and his son-in-law, Peter Fellows, to reflect on some things. Go ahead, Gene.
So, Pop, what I was thinking is, you've told me, I don't know, you shared with me a lot of memories of growing up in Mamaroneck over the years, and I just thought I'd like to ask you about some of them, because I'm sure some people here will remember some of these and will appreciate them. And I wondered, your mother, she's from Mamaroneck, wasn't she?
My mother was from Mamaroneck. Her father was a sandstone, and he owned the sandstone building that's on Mamaroneck Avenue, right near where Robert's department store is underneath. And years ago, the big attraction in Mamaroneck, a fella used to climb it blindfolded. It's only 3 stories high, but there was a ledge on the bottom you had to get over. The sandstone name was printed on the back, but that was the big attraction years ago, the sandstone building. They had to climb and get blindfolded. And one other attraction was we were on the corner of Prospect Avenue before the Hook and Ladder Firehouse. There was a fellow that was buried, and they dug a hole in the cement, and he was buried underneath. He had a glass coffin, and he was there for a week, and he stayed there for a week. Those were the big attractions.
Where did your mother go to school?
She went to the Depot School, which was it was right in the before coming down Mount Pleasant Avenue by the post office, down at the bottom of the hill. Where the bottom, one side is Mamaroneck Avenue, the other side is Mount Pleasant coming down. The Depot School was right in the middle of the just before the railroad, before that section of Mamaroneck, before you go into the railroad bridge. That was the Depot School. And she went to school with Norman Rockwell.
Oh, wow.
Years later, he sent her a couple of letters, which I still have. He called it, "Dear Rose, I remember so much and so much and so much." But that was a valuable, my mother always cherished those letters. I still have them. Norman Rockwell. I still have them.
How about your father? Where'd your dad come from?
My dad he came from Italy, and his mother brought him over, and she brought him to Maryland, Delaware. There was a family named Warrington who had a big farm down in Delaware, and she raised my dad, and he took her name from there. And he worked there for many, many years. When he was about, I forget how old he was when he came to Mamaroneck. Well, he came to Mamaroneck in 1922. And on the entrance to Harbor Island, there was a gas station there. There used to be a gas station. The upper end of that gas station over there. And then later on, he got tired of the gas station business, and he moved down the Post Road. Skinner's used to have a greenhouse over there, and the Skinner's rented him some property there, and he used to have make apple cider and have an apple cider press. And furthermore, from there he went down in the middle of on Post Road, where Palmer Avenue and Post Road connect. He was right in the middle, at the beginning of Post Road over there. And I remember as kids, my brother and I used to be there. My job was to can the hot dog rolls. And
that was Shepherd's Field.
Shepherd's Field was there where the Mamaroneck All-Stars used to play. All that, Hunt Cunningham, Bob Walker, all the old-time athletes in Mamaroneck All-Stars. They used to play baseball.
And there was a horse track there?
There was a horse track around there. The horses didn't race. There was a stable. Used to be a lady, Grandma Croyas used to live up there. One of her sons was Baldy O'Neill was an old police sergeant years ago. He was her offspring. But she used to live over there in Shepherd's Field.
And gypsies used to camp
Yeah,
there,
the
didn't they?
gypsies used to come there. And they used to be in the back of, it was big enough, it was like a racetrack back there, but the gypsies used to camp back there. And my brother and I got to talking, and the two little gypsy girls were there. And they came over to the stand, and they were looking, my father had apple cider and had apples. I gave them a glass of cider, and they were going to leave the next day. They said they had to go back home, and they said, could we have some apples or something and so forth? So I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll leave you a basket of apples. And I used to like they used to have nice little necklaces and pins. And I says, I like those necklaces. And when the girl says, oh, you're going to give us some apples? We leave you a necklace. Okay, that's beautiful. So the next day came, I got up early. They were leaving, they left about 7 o'clock. I got up a little earlier. I left the apples in the basket, okay? They were going to leave I picked up the apples. Under the basket, there was nothing. There was no necklace. That was the first con job I ever got to take. They were nice people. Fond memories of Post Road, but that's where my father started out on Post Road with his first hot dog stand.
So your dad moved to the pagoda down Palmer, and he had the cider press there, right?
The pagoda wasn't there. He had the pagoda. He had the Chinese pagoda built. I forget the architect was from Mamaroneck, one of the good architect. It was the Chinese pagoda. If you look at it now, they gave us a historical landmark status with it. We've been in business 95 years or so now, so they made that a historical landmark, the building.
Didn't he have a parrot, a pet parrot?
Yes, he used to have a parrot. The parrot used to be hanging under the tree on the side where the driveway was, right? Then one day I was standing outside there, and there was a couple of my schoolgirls, young schoolgirls there, and the parrot started whistling. He used to whistle. He used to sing and everything. He started whistling. And the girls looked at me as if to say, what's the whistling? I said, stop me, it's the parrot. He was called Sam the Parrot, he used to name. And my dad moved to Maryland. He took the parrot down there with him, and that's where the parrot is We buried a parrot down there. He was quite a bird, though. He used to cry like a baby. I think it was a baby. Come on, Sam. That was the story of the parrot.
Behind the stand, there's a 1927 fire truck. What's that doing there?
Oh, the 1927 fire truck was I belonged to the Hook and Ladder Fire Department, and they sold the building. They were selling the building, and they didn't need the fire truck anymore. So I says, they wouldn't give it to anybody. You have to have room to put it someplace in the market. They wouldn't give it. So I said, I got plenty of room in the back of this hot dog stand up in the back. I'll bring it there. So I think I paid $125 for it in those days. So the fire chief and the mayor, I forget who the mayor was at that time, I bought the fire chief, I bought the fire engine. They wanted to make sure that I put it in for the town. I couldn't park it in the village, but we owned property in the town too. The other side was the village, so I said, no, we have property in the town. So next morning, the village manager, I bid $125 for it. Next morning, I see the village manager's coming down with Hank Paul was driving him down. He wanted to make sure that the fire truck went in the town park. So we drove it up in the back, we marked it up in the back and drove it up. Well, I kept it I drove it up in the back. When he left, I put it in the town section. So we kept it there for many, many years. Right now, I still have the fire engine. If you go by Walter, you'll see it covered. It's all covered with thing. And I would like to donate it back to Hook and Ladder. The Hook and Ladder is empty now. There's nothing in it. I know the library has a LMC-TV was using it, but you have 3 floors over there. They could use one of those floors. The top floor, you could put have a fireman museum with all the fire company could put some of the paraphernalia up there, and there would be a nice display for the kids in the village to visit. It would be a historical place to visit. When travelers came from out of town, it would be a compliment for the village. So I had the fire truck. It's up to the village whether they will take it back, because if it stays out there much longer, it's a 1928 Seagrave land. They don't make it anymore. If it keeps there anymore, it's going to rot. But I have the Lambiese boys on still. The mechanics, they used to take care of it for me. They'll get it started. I'll get it up to the firehouse. It's up to the village whether they will preserve it, keep that for a historical landmark. The kids in the village could see it. You could charge an admission for some people. It would be a lovely landmark, and it would always be there.
But when you were at the fire department as a volunteer, you were living behind the stand.
Yes, the first fire I ever made was the first man at the fire. I had a 1936 Chevrolet. I lent it to my brother Artie and his wife. So, well, him and his wife took it out for the night. They were going someplace. So about 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard the fire whistle blowing. And I jumped in my clothes, and I see flames coming up the back of it. When I went out the door, I said, "What's going on here?" It was my car. My brother borrowed my old Chevrolet. My car was on fire. It burned it up. I was the first one at the fire. That's the first time I was first at a fire. Okay.
Carol was mentioning that the high school was a closed campus at the time, but the kids still like to sneak down.
In them days, the kids used to sneak down the stairs and come across the street for hot dogs, right? So this one day, I think there was about 8 or 10 boys came down the stairs, came down the high school stairs and came across the street. And up on top of the stairs was Mr. Burnham. He was the superintendent of one of the boys' advisors. So he's standing up on top of the stairs. Now it's The kids have been in there for about 15 minutes, and he's still up on top of the stairs. So I said, well, he's not gonna move, this guy. I said, these kids are gonna get in trouble. So in the meantime, my hot dog man came and delivered me hot dogs, and he had the big truck. So I says, John, do me a favor, will you? The kids are in the back room of the stand. So I says, will you take these, there's about 10 of them. I says, could you do me a favor, put these 10 kids in the truck, take them up the back of the school, drop them off so they could get back in school. So this he gladly did for me, and I appreciate it. The kids went back up to about another 20 minutes. There's Mr. Burnham, he's standing up on top of the stairs. I says, gee, boy, he's got a hell of a weight up there. So the kids are back in school safe. What experience with these. Oh, yes. Last but not least.
Hold the mic up.
I'm greatly honored by this group of friends that have come to visit, pay their respects to me. I'm grateful to all of you. I'll try to get to each of you before I go and thank you personally for being here. It's been quite an honor. It's been quite an honor knowing all you folks. You've been part of my life, and I've been part of yours, and I thank you very much for being here this evening.
Gene, would you like to know another interesting fact from the little kid from Mamaroneck? That's me over here.
Oh,
No. Sit down. Just listen. Just listen. An interesting fact from a 5-year-old kid from Mamaroneck. Number one, I absolutely remember the fire truck, all right? And it is a big deal, and what you're offering is great. Number two, until 3 weeks ago, I thought you and Artie were twins. Now, for a grown-up that may be silly, but I've lived for 60-odd years thinking that you guys were twins. And my mother just straightened me out a couple weeks ago. Anyway.
Are you in Florida? But this is one day of the week.